Hello, Amanda Dounis here from the Positive Thinking Clinic. And today I'm actually going to discuss what to do if there's a nightmare or a continuous series of nightmares that keep you from sleeping soundly. So the most important thing is to practice relaxation. Another useful tool is guided visualizations. Some people create their own safe place, safe haven, and it can be something or a place that they've been to in the past or something that you can create and modify as time goes by. So it can be fictional or non-fictional. It can be anything you want, but it's a form of pleasant imagery. Coping skills, for example, breathing techniques, distraction techniques. Be sure, of course, that you're willing to face this as an ongoing issue. If it is an ongoing issue, even if it's not an ongoing issue and it's starting to form its own pattern and you become worried that it might become an ongoing issue, well, it's time now to think of what you can do so that you can stop it in its tracks. Because the brain likes to do the same thing. And so it's almost like practice. If you're going to practice being worried about a particular nightmare or practice being awake after the nightmare and the way that you're responding or reacting afterwards, more than likely, chances are that you'll continue that reaction and response. So what you want to do now is make changes to what happens in regards to your nightmares or bad dreams. The distress tolerance assessment, self-assessment. How much can you tolerate the distress? We're going to look at skills that you can use so that you can be okay with the physical sensations or the symptoms that happen in your body. Quite often after a bad nightmare, you do have an increased rate of heart. You may even seem out of breath and quite stressed. Music can help you to feel calmer, to soothe that particular moment, even to help you journey out of that window of stress that you're experiencing at that time. So to get started, you can focus on a particular nightmare or nightmares that you would like to work on. I'm going to suggest that if there's a number of unrelated ones, if you're the type of person that has all these different nightmares, pick one for now. If it's the same nightmare but different variations, consider that as one as well. Let it be what you're going to focus on. We can call it the target. I'm also going to suggest if you have a series of nightmares that one's not so bad and one's really bad, I'd start at the lower end of the scale so that you can tackle what's not as distressing for you. So that way you can learn those foundational skills so that if you tackle the next nightmare, which is a little bit more intense and emotionally arousing than the first nightmare that's not as intense, then at least you're working your way up the scale. So write it down. Piece of paper and pen or text or whatever you wish to use. Write it down. Write down the nightmare as you remember it in your mind. Now, sometimes you might want to use symbols. You can even add pictures, but I want you to include all the sensations that come with it. What you smell, what you see in the distance, what you feel, what you can taste. Bring all the sensory experience out onto the paper. And in addition, add what you feel, what you think, even what you're assuming, your interpretations about what's going on during the dream. After you've done that, and spend time on this because this is your target. And it's as you see it, as you feel it, as you experience, as you think it. We have that. Now, next, create a brand new outcome for your nightmare. So what I'm inviting you to consider now is, what would you change before anything bad happens in the nightmare? So if you know there's a particular point in your storyline that you wrote about, that and something bad happens, and that's what in effect turns it into a bad dream or nightmare, you create the change right there for that moment as to what will happen instead. So I'm inviting you to consider recreating the storyline for your nightmare. Come up with whatever changes that you need taken place. They can be sensory as well. And these things that you write or document will now change the outcome, and in fact change that main part of the nightmare that really shakes you up, gives you anxiety and all of that fear and the intense worry. So what you're doing is you're creating a new storyline. Write it out even to the end, so that the ending becomes just as important, because you design it, make it friendlier, more peaceful, so that you wake up in a more calm state. Call it a friendlier state. And if that is to occur, then it's only natural to expect that our heart rate won't be racing, our breathing will be much more normal, and our fear response or our fear temperature will not be as high as the original nightmare or your original perceptions about it or what you remember. So whatever the changes that you make in the nightmare, they can be totally creative. They don't even have to make sense. It can be anything that makes you ease your way out of the nightmare. You could have a superhero in it. You can have something that just, is just totally out of reality. It doesn't really matter because it's in your mind anyway. It's a dream or a nightmare. So you can create creatures that come and attack what was going to attack you. So you can do anything you like, be creative. Kids are really creative and recreating things. So pretend you're a kid, if you're an adult, and change the way that you think of things and just pretend you're creating just something. All nightmares don't make sense anyway. So you can match it with something that doesn't make sense and to combat the fear factor as well. You'll change your thoughts, you'll change your feelings, and you'll even change any perceptions, interpretations, and assumptions. So now here you have it, a brand new nightmare according to your new edited version. Then what you do is you rehearse this, and as you rehearse it, you practice relaxing each night before you go to sleep. Practice relaxing, practice rehearsing. Nothing stops you from changing it, making more changes. You're allowed to edit your story almost every night if you like. And so have it as a work in progress. Rehearse it by visualizing the absolute entire dream from start to finish with the changes each and every night. So here we are exposing the brain to a brand new pattern. Rehearse and relax during the day as well. So visualize it, rehearse it, practice your relaxation in broad daylight, while you could be sitting down on the couch, or you could be just sitting having a cup of coffee. It's not just a matter of rehearsing and relaxing just before bed and hoping for the best. Skills are best practiced when you're actually calm and relaxed. So, for example, if you want to practice being calm in case you're having a panic attack, you're going to practice those skills when you are calm so that they can become rehearsed and automatic, so that at the end, if ever you do have a panic, automatically your mind can retrieve the skill that you've already rehearsed and it's embedded in you. So it's as simple as that. And if you are an adult and you know of a child or children that also have nightmares as well, Well, modify the language. You know now the recipe or the formula for doing this. Get them to write out their nightmare, and then get them to write out a new version of this nightmare that can even become humorous, turn it into funny, turn it into comedy. So this way, they're practicing a way of calm, a way of humor, a way of breaking that pattern, and a way of desensitizing to something that they become fearful about. You can almost turn a child into being excited for going to sleep so they can have a brand new dream. So I hope what I've said to you or described to you has given you a different way of seeing things. Use it to your advantage and add your own creativity to it. And good luck with having a restful sleep with brand new happy dreams. You've been listening to Amanda Dounis from the Positive Thinking Clinic.